Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from thousands of successful individuals from around the world. I'm your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today I'm delighted to welcome an accomplished entrepreneur from the world of wellness and healthcare from Madison, Wisconsin, USA, Mr. Justin Byers. Justin, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. Really great to be here.
Thank you. Justin is the founder and chief executive officer of Axio BioPharma, which is an AI biomanufacturing company revolutionizing how monoclonal antibodies are developed and produced. So, Justin, before we talk about Axio, a few questions for you. Tell me a little
Sure.
bit about your own journey and what inspired you to combine biomanufacturing technology and entrepreneurship into your career path.
I'll be honest, it was not a straightforward path that led me to where I'm at here today.
Mhm.
Early in my career, I worked as a scientist developing manufacturing processes, and then I saw firsthand just how much time and money was lost to a lot of these inefficiencies around trial and error process.
Mhm.
Later in my career, I moved over to the commercial sales side of things. And so, as a business leader leading high performing commercial teams, I got to work directly with the clients. And again, I kept hearing the same thing over and over that the traditional processes were just far too slow, far too
Mhm.
costly, and no guarantees of success. So,
Mhm.
was really demanding for somebody to step up, find a better way. And around that same time was
Mhm.
all the surge and innovation around AI, especially around these large language models,
Mhm.
pred predictive chat systems. And so I was looking around, watching all these models and thinking back on the history. And it's like, wait a minute. What if we could generate an accurate predictions
Mhm.
around biomanufacturing and predict the biomanufacturing process itself? So it's that question that ultimately led me to where I'm at now and founding Axio BioPharma.
Wow. And looking back at your early career, what lessons have helped you shape your vision for Axio today?
Oh my goodness, definitely try to learn from a lot of the bumps and bruises I've had along the way. Um, so there's a lot of things that I've learned from, but one of the big ones that I've applied over and over again is that I've learned that speed and scale don't have to compete. I've heard that, especially when I was a development scientist, that you can't
Mhm.
have both. Um, and we uh, That doesn't have to necessarily be true. In manufacturing, we tend to treat like a lot of these programs as one-off experiments,
Mhm.
but the truth is that you should learn from the patterns that you see. And I'm not just speaking just in terms of Axio Biopharma, but I think a lot of people should try and go back and do this regardless of the sector that they're in, is
Mhm.
learn from those patterns that you've seen before or that you've seen from others. And then I've also learned firsthand the value of cross-functional teams, whether that's
Mhm.
scientists and engineers, or whether that's data persons on the data analytics side. Everybody working together, you get so much more value out of these cross-functional teams because you get to
Mhm.
combine all the disciplines and really move forward together as a single kind of cohesive package rather than siloed entities. So that's probably one of the even bigger lessons that I've learned is that working together, we can really make a lot of these
Absolutely.
groundbreaking changes.
Absolutely. Well said. Justin, let's talk about Axio Biopharma now. Tell me about Axio Biopharma and how do you define Axio's mission to accelerate and de-risk biologics development in practical terms?
Yeah, it's a great question. You started off by describing us early on as AI-driven biomanufacturing, and I think that really fits what we're doing here nicely. And for us, I mean, we're all about connecting the industry.
Mm,
As I was alluding to before, biomanufacturing data right now sits in a lot of different silos.
mm,
Each company has their own information, every instrument vendor. And then within those different companies, every single run has its own silo of information.
mm,
So Axio's mission is to come in and bring that information together in a way that still respects privacy and IP, but lets everybody learn from that collective intelligence and data.
Mm,
So we're starting right now with downstream purification because that's where a lot of time and money are lost. We're training models on some of this historical information
mm,
so that we can then start predicting scalable manufacturing processes earlier and earlier.
mm,
And and then that same kind of oh, oh, kind of concept of going about using information to make predictions will also be the same platform that we use to make tech transfer
mm,
easier as well. So not only is our mission to accelerate the development side, but it's also to accelerate tech transfer. Because if a partner runs into a manufacturing queue or for any reason needs to move production mid-trial,
mm,
we want them to be able to very rapidly digitally test and do a digital facility fit and be able to assess whether they can transfer their process to another manufacturer in
mm.
just a matter of days rather than months or years.
Yeah.
And to be able to do it with confidence, know that it's going to fit, it's going to work the same as it did with their previous manufacturer
Mm.
the first time, every single time. So
Fascinating.
that's really what our mission is about, and
Yeah,
that's what's
yeah.
really exciting us.
Fascinating. And for my viewers and listeners, can you tell us how AI and machine learning are applied in your process design?
Yeah, absolutely. So right now, we're using AI and machine learning in the antibody space. Specifically, we're focused on the early downstream purification. So after the cells are grown up, and now you want to isolate your drug substance from everything else that's floating around in there.
Mm,
And it's honestly one of the more simple parts in biologics manufacturing, but that's by design. We're starting with one of the more well understood, highly characterized parts of manufacturing
mm,
because it's the perfect place to kind of start building the foundation and validating our models.
mm,
So we're using early chromatography and polishing data from our partners, from other CDMOs, equipment vendors, as well as top 10 pharma. And then by starting simple, we can build with confidence more complex systems over time.
mm,
And and then once those models are solid, we can start layering in other data types, start looking at the expression systems and cell culture, formulation, even
mm,
analytical packages.
mm.
So our long-term goal here with the AI and machine learning is to really connect all the information that's out there and create a full predictive framework. So starting simple lets us scale fast, but also lets us scale responsibly.
Very interesting. But the other thing that struck me was that given the current state of development of AI, how do you ensure reliability of the predictions of AI in such a high stakes domain as drug manufacturing?
That's another great question. I mean, it's incredibly important and it's the right question to be asking because reliability has to come first, far before speed or anything else.
Correct.
And so every manufacturing process will be vetted out with a demonstration run so that nothing moves forward until it's actually proven with wet lab experimentation.
Mm,
And then the long-term vision is that we'll eventually have a fully validated system that'll no longer require that.
mm.
But we need to first be able to prove that what we're predicting is based in the real world.
Yeah.
So we'll do this in a few different ways. Here, what we're doing right now is we're starting with data that we can trust, and then focusing first on, as I mentioned before, the downstream process, and then starting with good, clean, well-characterized data will give us a strong foundation
Mm,
before we start adding on other more complex variables.
mm,
And because we're building this in a federated system, our partners never have to give up their raw data. Our model learns locally inside their own secure environment and servers, so that the only thing that's shared back to us is the insights that are learned from the model.
mm.
So that structure gives us a lot of ability to scale. It gives us access to a lot of diverse data
Yeah.
without compromising quality or confidentiality.
Very
And
interesting.
so it's really a simple process. Validate everything, learn from these real results, and keep that process going and keep that process transparent so that we
Mm,
can continue to learn, but also continue to show everybody how the model works so that they're trusting it because it's not just a black box that they can't see what's happening inside there. They
yeah.
really understand what's going on.
Well said. You also say that you reduce timelines from years, which is what normally happens in when it comes to anything to do with healthcare, to days. How are you
Yep.
doing this so differently from so many other organizations?
It's another good question, and you're absolutely right. I mean, when I used to be the development scientist, I mean that was a multi-year process to go from early concept to the clinic,
Correct.
and really comes down to us doing things smarter. Right now, most process development is a long series of trial and error experiments
Hmm.
where you change one variable at a time, and you hope it gets you a little bit closer to the right answer.
Yeah.
And it's all built upon that development scientist's past history. So you hope that they've seen other programs that are similar to yours and they can learn from those programs. With us, we're using data and modeling to narrow that search space before a single experiment is ever run.
Hmm.
So we're basing our experimental design off of thousands and thousands of data points, not just a couple of dozen from one single scientist.
Hmm.
So this allows the model to quickly identify, okay, where is success most likely so that we can focus on a couple of experiments that are going to really matter most.
Hmm.
And that shift alone right there is going to save months in the development process.
Hmm.
And then as this model learns, and with each and every new program, those insights just continue to become more and more reusable and
Hmm.
creates a positive feedback loop.
Hmm.
So, what used to take hundreds or even thousands of experiments can now be simulated in a single day and then
Wow.
verified in the lab through a demonstration run in just a matter of a week or two.
Hmm.
So, not skipping any steps,
No,
we're
I'm sure
just,
you're not. But
yeah,
yet,
we're just doing this all in silico.
absolutely. But I've also spent a lot of time in the pharma world, and I wonder, how do you balance this innovation with regulatory compliance in a very highly scrutinized industry? And this is the case all over the world.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's always has to be in the back of our mind. While we're
Yeah.
working right now in the research space, our goal is to get everybody to the clinic. So we have to be thinking about, okay, how do we align with the regulatory bodies? And it's something that's always top of mind for us. And the FDA, the EMA, and other regulatory agencies have actually been encouraging the use of in silico modeling, especially for
Mm,
process development and validation, for at least the last couple of years. So, in many ways, we're aligning and helping to bring a lot of the industry along with us
mm,
where the regulators already want us to go. So, our platform is built to help partners meet that guidance, not try to be some kind of workaround.
mm.
And uh, to be clear, we're not skipping any steps in the pathway to the
Yeah.
clinic.
Yeah.
Engineering runs, GMP runs, they're all still happening like normal. What
Absolutely.
really changes is just the timeline to get to those steps.
Amazing. And can you tell us a little more about your role in advancing next generation drug delivery technologies?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's another good question. I mean, right now our focus is on improving the fundamentals. So that's where we're starting right now with
Mm,
the purification, and then we'll move into the expression steps. But what's exciting is how this same approach applies to next generation molecules and
mm,
the delivery technologies. So as we start working with more complex molecules outside of antibodies,
mm,
so think of bispecifics, multispecifics, other types of fusion proteins, the ability to predict those manufacturing processes becomes even better with every single program we take on.
mm.
And then that same framework can then be used to predict, okay, what does the formulation steps look like? How is delivery best suited for this given molecule ever before it's actually entering into the clinic? So instead of treating it as an afterthought, we can
Mm,
start thinking about that very early in the development process.
mm,
And a great example of where this is headed is our recent announcement of our collaboration with Lacarta. They're doing some amazing, really innovative work in cell encapsulation and targeted delivery. Our partnership and other partnerships like that let us see how to predict these formulation steps. So we're not just thinking about the production and manufacturing, but we're also thinking about, okay, how are these going to be delivered to the patient ultimately?
wow. How do you see Axio fitting into the broader biomanufacturing ecosystem in the US and globally?
Uh, So that's a good question. So initially we focused on some of our own manufacturing services. So we are a biologics manufacturing service, but that's more of an enabling technology, allowing us to get some of the early data to build out our models. What we
Mm,
really see Axo becoming is really the connective layer, the digital infrastructure that allows the rest of the industry to learn without ever sharing their proprietary data. In the US, that's especially important right now. There's a big push to strengthen domestic biomanufacturing.
yeah.
And so we're building tools that transition that to make it faster, more efficient. And
Mm,
then our platform helps partners de-risk the development and transfer process seamlessly between sites.
mm,
So allowing them to maintain continuity between supply chains should they shift from one manufacturer to another. And then the globally, the federated model, that's allowing the same kind of collaboration without ever having to centralize all that information.
mm,
So one big thing where we really see ourselves fitting in is allowing partners to train the model locally inside their own secure environment and then aggregate those learnings across our entire ecosystem and global network. So
mm.
what I've found from talking with a lot of potential partners and a lot of established partners is that no one single partner has all of the answers or has all of the data.
Yeah.
So us becoming that kind of connective layer and be able to connect all of this information is what we see as really the valuable thing that we're bringing to the entire industry.
Mm, mm. Well said. Justin, how do you build a team culture that integrates AI engineers, biologists, and manufacturing experts? Very, very diverse skill sets.
Very diverse, and we all seem to have our own unique language at times. So, first and foremost, it starts with mutual respect. And then it's really getting us all to understand that we're coming in not only with our own innate knowledge and information, but also our own biases.
Mm,
So, our scientists know the biology, our software engineers know the data, and then the manufacturing folks know how to really scale these processes up.
mm,
So we spent a lot of time kind of creating some shared language by focusing in on group sessions and really learning from one another. And it's not too unusual to see one of our data scientists learning more about the chromatography or expression parts of manufacturing. And it's also likewise not uncommon to see some of our downstream purification scientists digging into code and learning about a little bit about how the predictive coding software works as well. So
right.
that kind of overlap and kind of learning from one another has been one of the biggest things that's
Mm,
really helped our team kind of fit together cohesively.
fascinating. How do you envision the future of monoclonal antibody development in an AI era?
Well, I think some of the AI era is already upon us. I think we're starting to move towards a future where development starts digitally, and we're already seeing that with digital molecule design. A lot of top 10 pharmas are already incorporating molecule design in with their process. So that's something that you can see right now today. And I expect to continue to see advancements on the process design side as well. So designing of the manufacturing process. And that's exactly what our aim is to do.
Mm,
So that before any runs of any kind of experiments, a model will be able to predict manufacturability, scalability, and any kind of risks in the process. So
amazing.
that shift will take us away from kind of a reactive troubleshooting to more of a proactive, rapid design of the manufacturing process so
Mm,
that we can design the right processes the first time and not have to come in and
yeah.
fix things later when a deviation or an unexpected event happens.
Mm,
So my thought is that it's going to make antibody development faster, more consistent, and more cost effective.
amazing. I have time for two more questions for you, Justin.
Sure.
Do you see Axio expanding into other therapeutic areas beyond recombinant proteins and antibodies?
Absolutely. I mean, the foundation that we're building here is only going to continue to expand as we train and validate our models. The same framework applies to other recombinant proteins, such as enzymes that are used in mRNA manufacturing, recombinant vaccines, gene editing nucleases that are used in cell and gene therapies. So I see us continuing to expand first in the protein space, but then into the other modalities, not just making the enzymes for mRNA, but also integrating with mRNA manufacturing, plasmid manufacturing,
Mm,
RNA, and other RNA manufacturing as well. So
mm.
as our model matures, we're going to continue to build, continue to add on complexity, continue to add on other modalities as well. So the long-term goal is that this platform can really support any kind of biologic, regardless of the modality.
Outstanding. And my last question for you, Justin, what excites you as the founder the most about the future of Axio and the patients you are serving and hope to serve?
What honestly excites me the most is how we can directly impact the industry.
Mm,
The speed translates into cost savings, which translates into patient impact. So, by driving down development and manufacturing costs, not only can we make kind of traditional drugs more accessible, it's also
mm,
possible to pursue some of these more elusive, rare, and even ultra rare disease states that right now today just aren't economically viable to go
mm,
after. And
mm.
that's really the bigger picture for me. I'm really excited to go after some of these that right now the industry unfortunately just uh, can't go after because it's not cost effective. And so
Mm.
helping the entire industry move faster, smarter, and ultimately advancing therapies to patients and making them much more accessible.
Fascinating. And on that note, Justin, I just want to say what a fascinating discussion this has been for me, my viewers and listeners. I've been associated with the pharma industry for a long time, and I know how long and how painful the whole process of discovery and approvals is. And you seem to have found the secret sauce to have reduced this whole thing, which will make it so much easier for good, effective products to reach the market much faster. Thank you for sharing with me your journey, the journey of Axio, and all the amazing work that you're doing. All the very best, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the brand called You.